Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Success Grade podcast with your host Hossein Talib. I have a very special guest today, Shawn Harper. He has earned an excellent reputation as one of the United States' leading corporate motivation speaker. He has the author of Winning Edge. He is a 7-year former NFL offensive lineman who played with the Rams, the Oilers, and the Colts and NFL Europe, and now owns and operates American Services and Protection, a multi-million-dollar security services company firm headquartered in Ohio. Shawn, welcome to the grid.
Thank you. Let's have fun. Let's win. Let's do this.
Yeah, awesome. I love your concept. Actually, I saw some of your interviews and talks on YouTube and other places, and I love the concept of winning rather than success, I guess, right? But before we get into that, let's talk about who you are. Talk us about your journey from the NFL, even if you like childhood, until where you are now and the company now.
Oh, yeah, sure. Like you mentioned, I'm a former NFL professional football player. I played with the Rams. I played with the Colts. I played also in NFL Europe, the NFL owned and an actual Europe subsidiary. So, I played in Frankfurt, I played in, Scotland, Edinburgh, I played Amsterdam, so I had a really good exposure and time playing in professional football. Most people think, though, that playing professional football or being a professional athlete, that, you've had an excellent background, you were catered to, you had to, go to the sports arena and, private tutoring and, nothing could be further than the truth. I was plagued with, learning disabilities, told I would never amount to anything. One of 6 kids. My mom raised me all by herself. I didn't see my dad. And she struggled to make ends meet. We were very poor. I mean, extremely poor, and being raised with and in impoverished situations. I got in trouble a lot. Got kicked out of a couple schools. I ended up graduating last in my class in academics, like a 1.62. That's like 1 grade above, being kicked out of school, actually. And I went off to a junior college, a 2-year school in Iowa. It's not a full university. It's, a like 2-year school for people who can't get into a 4-year school, just to be honest. And I had a conversation with myself, and the conversation is, you know what, Shawn, you're right, or they're right. You don't have what it takes to be successful. You don't have you're not smart. You're not smart enough for university. You have this and, your parents and, you don't have it. I said, but I can win. And when I said that, it's like, you ever watch those movies where somebody walks over and they cut on one switch and it cuts on an entire factory? That's what happened in my mind, in my body, in my life. It's like everything sprung to life. I said, I can win. I am created to win, and I'm going to win. And once that happened, a new level of just anger, determination, fearlessness took over my life. And I began to apply, and most importantly, I began to see life differently. Everything became an opportunity. All things work together for the good. Even the bad things that happen, I found the good in it. And one of the first things I begin to do, and I want to challenge the people to actually adopt this. I begin to start reframing my life. I'll give you an example. My father left when I was 4 years of age, but he was also physically abusive. He was extremely abusive, and he abused me physically. He would throw me around, smack me around, but he left. And so instead of me being sad on the point that he left, I found gratitude, like, God, thank you, because had he stayed in my life, I don't know what would have happened to me. I would have been a very angry or a bitter or a lost kid. So anything that ever happened in my life, I found forgiveness and grace in it and found the good in it. And that freed me from to move into, excel in the future. One of the things I've learned is that if you live in the past, you will die in the present. Tomorrow hasn't happened yet in some realms, and other realms it already has.
Yeah, awesome. So what I see here is that it's like you got electrocuted, something like that, because you like the switch that just flipped on with your life and you just thought about it. Also, the adversity that you had, like with your father walking away when were younger, and you are basically a big family. You mentioned like you were six brothers and sisters, something like that.
Yes.
So it's a big family, and your mother took care of you by herself. So how did you see these things when you were like a child? Did you think, especially when you maybe like you saw some people or you knew some people or watch on TV people who are successful, especially who got into sports, when you used to see these people in sports who are successful, the Michael Jordans or whoever played in NFL or whatever, how did you get to this point of like, I want this?
Yeah. So, wow. First of all, that's a very good and intriguing question. What I heard was, yeah, you went through all that, but you still had that actual dream, or did you still have the dream of doing something great in the midst of adversity? And my response to that question is yes and no. You see, I knew in the depth of who I am that there was greatness in me, that, you know what, I can do this one day. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't see how it can happen. And I probably guess that that's where a lot of people are, that in their gut, in the seed of who they are, they know that I could do greatness, I can do amazing things. But in their mind, they can't see it. And that's okay, because you might not be able to see the greatness that's around you. But when you start listening to the seed that's in you, you move out of creation and you move into manifestation. There's a difference between the two. Okay. One you make happen, one you let happen. And so I had to make a decision, because one day I was sitting in the room and, and even at junior college, I had a dream, but it wasn't here yet. And I said, I want to play professional football, and everyone started laughing. And that was probably the greatest moment of my life. They were laughing
when someone else laughs at you when you have a dream or a vision that you have for the future for yourself.
And this is why, because they're laughing, I have to make a decision at that moment. And the decision is, do I listen to them or do I listen to the seed that's in me? And so I turned, I walked out and I yelled it out in midnight sky, beautiful stars everywhere. I said, all I have is a dream. And I started listening to the dream in me. And I keep making a correlation or talking about a dream and a seed, because outside of love, the most powerful force in the universe is the dream. Because dreams can escape your current circumstances. Dreams can escape time. Dreams can escape all laws of the universe. There's nothing more powerful outside of love than the dream. And that dream was in me. And I said, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm going to get to that level and I'm going to play. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. And I begin to lock in and focus on my dream. I shut my mouth. I stopped telling people this is what's going to happen, because sometimes, listen to this, sometimes when you tell people things and all that negative energy is in the atmosphere, it begins to suffocate the dream. Kept my mouth shut, kept my head down, and I focused on the dream. This is where I'm going. That's where I'm going. That's where this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm made to do. There's a difference. And that moving into manifestation happened. But getting back to the core of your question is, I felt it, I just couldn't see it.
Yeah. So that leaves me two things here. Like you talked about the seed. Actually, we get trees and we get fruits and vegetables from seeds. So this is where someone starts, from a seed.
Yes.
So and the second thing is like, you people who were like negative around you, those people, sometimes when I talk around people, these kind of people, maybe they don't want you to, let's say, win or succeed. They want you to stay behind them. What do you think about these kind of people, for example?
Yeah. So, wow, everyone can't go. And so like when you see a rocket and it goes up in the air, it gets to a certain level and it lets go of its right and left boosters, because what got it at this level, you can't get it to that level. And so you have to reevaluate people that's around you, and you have to make tough decisions. I mean, I have to make some now in my office. I own a company, and I'm like, you know what? You can't go. Everyone can't go to the next level with you, which is why you have to be very careful whom you share your dreams with. Now, to address the haters, that's what we call the haters in your life. Man, you're not going to do nothing. Man, you're going to do this. Man, let me tell you where that's from. That's anger. That's anger that they have towards themselves, but they're vetting it towards you because they can't see themselves at that level. And daggone it, they'd be daggone if they're going to let themselves see you at that level. Think about that for a second. Anger, hate, it flows both ways. If I can't see myself at that next level, I can't see you at that next level. There's just an outward expression of their limitations.
Yeah, exactly.
Love them.
Yeah, because they like you mentioned, they cannot reach that level, or they see not reaching it, so they want to keep people around them at the same level or below it.
Everyone can't go. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. So these kind of people you need maybe to walk away from.
Yes.
If you wanna reach a higher level, if you wanna stay where you are, that's also a choice. I guess it's a choice, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So like, I'm a big fan of sports. I'm a big fan of football, what you guys call soccer.
Where are you at?
I'm in Jordan.
Okay, awesome, man. Cool.
Awesome. So yeah, I'm a fan of Liverpool FC. I'm sure you know Liverpool FC.
Mm-hmm.
So
I used to live in Amsterdam, so I used to watch the Ajax and all that stuff. So
yeah, cool. So it's a very competitive game also, and I played rugby for a while. What you call American football, call football. So it's a very competitive game. Sports is like you get this adrenaline or this kind of energy, but sometimes you need to win, or sometimes teams think that we need to win or reach the finals. In order to reach the final, you have to compete and play games. So is there a way for anyone in life, whether it's in business or in their own life, can design something to win at the end, let's say?
Yes. First of all, you have to recognize that you are here to win. You're created to win. You have to realize that your life is an extension of a win. And and I often say this, everyone that's listening to me right now, you are 1 to 2 to 3 million sperm cells. Now think about this for a second. There's the egg and there's the sperm, and there's 2 million other sperms, and you guys are fighting, man. You're not trying to be friends. You're swimming, right? And you're swimming as fast as you can to get to the egg, and you won. You're the winner. This is why people, when you see competition, you go crazy. Because why? Because you love to win. So if you take your favorite team with football or soccer or whatever, and they lose every single game for the next 20 years, are you going to wear that hat outside? No, you're not going to wear that. No, but you're not going to throw the hat away. You're going to put it on the shelf. Well, why? Because you physically cannot identify with losing. Oh, yes. Because your DNA is set to winning. It's not set to losing. And what happens to a lot of people when they get to a certain age in life, they realize, hey, I'm not winning. I mean, yeah, I have this, I'm this, I got a beautiful this or this and that, and I got great kids, but I'm not winning. And you can tell, that you're not winning, and you got to find that win. And a lot of it is in the area of reproduction. What I mean by reproduction, not just from sex, but just reproducing who you are, mentoring, encouraging, helping. Doing podcasts is so fulfilling for me because I am reproducing, I'm motivating, I'm encouraging, I'm giving knowledge. This is what I'm here for. This is what I'm created for. And you look at all the problems that are going on in the world, not just in your country or in the world. A lot of it is the lack of reproduction in the next generation.
Yeah, I love your concept of winning, because when you said winning, everyone, all people talk about success, but because success in general is different to a lot of people, right? Some people maybe it's money, some people it's about relationship, whatever it is. But when you talked about winning, when the concept of you is winning, like you, I could relate to it more, because winning, I can identify it more. Because if let's talk about sport, for example, we know like teams go through matches, at the end they win, and they win the final, and they actually win. That's what they call success after winning, maybe.
Right.
So,
Oh, that's a great point. That's a great point.
yeah,
Wow.
right.
Yeah.
So maybe success, I don't know, maybe it's like the big picture, and winning is the thing that we should aim at. And when we achieve that win, we can call it a success, or maybe, I don't know. How do you see that?
No, you're right. But I'm going to introduce something that's a little more diabolical. This right here is evil.
Okay.
So around 7 to 8 years of age, like we have traditions in the US like Santa Claus or whatever. And, but around that time, the success model is introduced. The success model says, hey, if you want to be successful, you got to go to university, right? Hey, if you want to be successful, you got to, marry into this family. If you want to be successful, you have to do this. And then they describe and then prescribe what your life should be to be successful. It feels like a win, but it's not. And so now you're chasing this thing. They take a little bit of the win, and they take it. And now you're chasing this thing called success, especially in the Western culture, your entire life. You're chasing that. But that's not it. This is why you're getting older. And as you age, you're like, well, I have this. Why do I feel so empty? You don't ask an apple why, it feels empty, because the apple is not only made to produce, it's made to reproduce. Embedded in the apple is a seed.
Exactly.
So when the apple dies and the seed falls and the seed dies, it reproduces. Now, there's a seed in each and every one of us. The seed of greatness that springs to life is also reproducing the seeds that you plant in other people.
Yeah, exactly.
We get to an age where we know we're working hard and we're like, where's the reproduction in this? I'm being productive, but there's no reproduction.
Cool concept, a new concept, being productive and not reproductive.
Yes,
that's also new look on things, actually, to be continually on it. So with your company, how do you find people that are winners, people who work with you that they are winners, and how do you build the culture around your company?
Wow. You know what? That's tough. Well, I have to be honest. Like, I'm one of those like transparent speakers. You never have to worry about me like being like, yo, it's tough. It's really tough. But what you just said kind of locked in. It made sense to me. And here's why. I need to attract people who have woke up to the fact that they are winners. And the closest thing that I can get to that is attracting other former or current athletes, because they understand the concept of winning. And then the people that are currently with us, I need to continually encourage them, and so that they will see that this is what I've been called to do, is to win and to bring that out. And so I've been doing it one way, but just listening to you in that question off of the context of what we're talking about just inspired me to do it a totally different way. Yeah, just now.
Yeah, awesome. Well, but your look on things on your team, it's really cool, because for example, any coach who trains a team, obviously they want to win whatever they want to win. So you're attracting these kind of people who are originally athletes like you were, knowing that they will come with let's say a winning mentality, or at least some kind of hunger to do something productive or reproduce, like you said. So that's really cool on how things, and you make sure that the company, the people who are in the company are working in the same atmosphere, let's say, and
Right.
achieving the goals of your corporation or your company.
Right. You want to hear something interesting?
Yeah.
According to Forbes, and I don't know the exact number, but I know it's over 80%. So I'll just say 80% of all C-level females, C-level CEOs, CFO, 80% of them were former collegiate athletes.
Cool. Well, that's new.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's very interesting because so especially if they have like not reached some kind of level there. Also, if they win actually certain things, like recently with the Olympics and these kind of things, they do huge things to win these medals. They train for like hours and hours and days and years to probably compete for like, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very big commitment. It's like that's the aim. That's it. That's the aim. Nothing else. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, a great unique perspective. I love this
Yeah.
one. Yeah. So what does exactly you have your company? What do you do exactly?
So my security company, we do unarmed and armed security officers. That's what we do. And that is our bread and butter, and we aim to be the best at it. Cool. We're throughout the entire state of Ohio. We have some stuff beyond, a little bit here and there. We do some consulting, executive work, but yeah, security officers. Speaking wise, hey, I love to speak. I'm a motivational speaker. I love to invest in the world's greatest resources, people. Because when you invest in people, it has the potential of reaping generations of dividends. And I love cash flow.
Exactly.
I love dividends. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a long-term game. It's continuous basis. It does not like stop. You teaching people, for example, some people who get influenced by you, which is you're awesome. Maybe also will take something else with them to go with the same journey. Maybe. Yeah. Actually, I watched a little bit of Les Brown. So you are like I think more powerful. Like you have more edge to it, I believe.
I received that. I'm not gonna be like no. I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, all day on that. Awesome, I received that. Yeah.
So what would you say, Shawn, the one takeaway from this episode?
If you don't know who you are, you're who they say you are. All action stems from thoughts. Everything that you do started with a thought. And from your thought comes your belief. So how do you see yourself? How do you see the world? That's your belief system, which frames your thoughts, which frames your actions. But underneath all of that is your self-concept. Who are you? Who are you, and what proof do you have? Which is why when you're a kid, your parents will say things like, you're amazing. Or unfortunately, your parents will say things like, you're a loser and you're a failure. And that's who you are, which will influence your belief, which will influence your thoughts, which will influence your actions. Now, I want to take away from this is, let's change that to you are a winner.
Exactly. Speaking of winner, tell us a little bit about your book, The Winning Edge, right?
Man, you know what? The Winning Edge talks about principles, laws, really, strategies and tactics that I've used to win at this game of life. Because if life is a game, you play the game to win. I always play the game to win. So check it out. I talk about spiritual laws. So no matter where you are in the world, what religion you are, there are spiritual laws that govern this earth, that govern the universe, the law of capacity. Okay, so let's say where you are, I'll give you a perfect example. So let's say that you have a shark, a baby shark in your fish tank, right? It's a baby shark, and you love your little baby shark, right? I love my baby shark, right? So let's say you take that same shark and you put that shark in the ocean and let it swim. That shark is going to grow to the proportion of the tank. If it's a small tank, it's going to get this big. If it's the ocean, it's going to get this big. Why? Because the spiritual law says is that you cannot outgrow your capacity. So oftentimes when people are stressed or people are just overwhelmed, it's because you've reached capacity. Then you have to enlarge your capacity. And so before you dig up, before you grow up, you got to dig down and build your foundation. If you want to build a skyscraper, you don't build up first, you build down first so that it can handle the growth. So that's a spiritual law. Work on that. So that's just one of the chapters. So there's 8 or 9 different principles that I live by. I live by these spiritual laws.
Awesome. That's very awesome. So where can people get in touch with you, Shawn?
So you can go to my website, shawnharper.org. That's, you can go to any search engine, ShawnHarper.org. You can go to Instagram. If you have, Instagram is Shawn Harper Speaker, ShawnHarper Speaker. Or if you go to ShawnSpeaks.co, this is awesome. I can get you a free copy of my book, a digital copy. You ain't got to pay for it on Amazon. It's free. It's for you. I'm taking it down soon. So make sure you log on and get that free copy.
Awesome. Well, I actually got the copy about earlier today, but I still haven't read it yet, but I will sure do now.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here today with me on this episode of the Success Grade podcast, Shawn.
Hey, you be blessed. And to anyone that's listening, hey, you can do it. Whether you're an actual adult or you're just a young girl holding a blanket with your finger in your mouth, you can do it. You can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah. You hear it, guys. You can do it. Definitely, you can do it.